everyone. Welcome to the Ashley Barlow Company podcast. I'm Ashley Barlow, your host. If you are a parent, a teacher, or someone who works at a school, or you're a community member, a volunteer, or a staff member at an organization that supports people with special education plans, a coach, a tutor, or even a grandparent, you're in the right place. Sit back with an ice cold glass of lemonade, put on your walking shoes and grab some headphones, roll down the windows and cruise. Ready, set, go. Educate, advocate, collaborate. Welcome back to the Special Education and Advocacy Podcast. I'm Ashley Barlow, and I am so happy you are here. Oh my gosh, we have made it to April, friends, and boy, does that mean that we are in the thick of it. Lots of us have annual IEP meetings. We've got spring sports that are in full force, even though many of you are probably going to them in several layers and then covered with coats and blankets. I remember that from our mini baseball years. We've got end of the year stuff going on in our family. We've got a couple of birthdays, spring break. Holy cow, it is a busy time of year. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time with this month's podcast, or this week's podcast rather, because really what the podcast is all about is your IEP personality type, and it ties into a quiz that I've got over on my website. So I want to introduce this idea to you and then have you go take the quiz. And then I want for you to comment back to us and tell us what you learned from the quiz about yourself and your IEP personality type, and what actions you're going to take to really capitalize on your strengths and to work on your, let's call them, areas of growth opportunity. Before we dive into the podcast, I want to remind you that we are hiring here at Ashley Barlow Company. So I am starting a virtual tutoring and coaching company this summer, in the summer of 2023. And I am asking you to help me find wonderful coaches and tutors. So if you know a teacher or a babysitter or a retiree or some other professional that would be interested in providing one-on-one or small group tutoring or consulting coaching services, those would be in the areas of reading, executive functioning, behavior, other academics. It might be a speech language pathologist that is certified to teach Wilson reading, or it might be a behaviorist that is really interested in advocacy. All of these professionals need to be willing and excited to provide one-on-one tutoring and coaching to parents and or to students in, like I said, one-on-one or a small group, and then also interested in advocacy, because I am going to train these professionals to do special education advocacy and help them start and grow their businesses as advocates, and also provide those services here at Ashley Barlow Company. So have anybody that you know send me a resume to ashley@ashleybarlowco.com. I really hope that I can fill up my roster of professionals by the end of April 2023. I know that's a lofty goal, but that's what I do here. I set lofty goals. So send me your references. I would love to meet with your friends and to interview them and to start cranking away here at Ashley Barlow Company as we embark on this tutoring center. By the way, if you are interested in accessing tutoring and coaching services for your child, I am just about finished with the business plan, and we're going to turn it right around and roll it into action this summer. Send me an email. I am going to get a waiting list up online. It's just taken me a second to get all the ducks in a row, and then we'll actually put the thing into place. So you can join the waiting list by simply sending me an email, and I will manually add you until I've got it up online. Okay. So today we are talking about your IEP personality type. Before we dive in, I want for you to know that this is intended to be fun, and also to provide you with a little bit more insight into the way that you work, particularly at the IEP table. And if you're like me, it's the way you work all together, but also so fun and a little bit of work. But I think there's another thing to say, and that is be easy on yourselves, right? I don't think that there is one particular personality type that is better than the other. Rather, I think that we can all become a little bit more self-aware about the way that we operate, specifically at the IEP table and beyond in our special education advocacy for our own children, for our clients, etc. But I also think that each of these different quote unquote personality types has positives and negatives, has things that we can capitalize on, and has things where we can grow and we can develop and we can get better on. Take the good with the bad and really turn that bad not into some place where we've got judgment, but rather some place where we can make effective changes. That is number one. I'm going to invite you to hop over to my website at the end of today's episode and to take the quiz yourself, and then to hop on social media or to send me an email or to rate the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and tell us about the personality quiz and how you scored and what you're going to do. This is supposed to provide you with some insight. The 4 personality types, without further ado: frazzled Francis, organized Olive, courteous Carol, and hesitant Hannah. Now, I am going to tell you that I have characteristics of all 4 of these folks inside myself, and I imagine that many of you do too. I don't think that many of us are like straight 100%. When I answer these questions, I am going to be 100% across the board, just in one of these categories. But I think that a lot of us are going to fall largely in one of the categories. So I ask, when you take the quiz, you're going to answer questions like, what are you doing the night before the IEP meeting? What does your IEP binder look like? What are you doing when the school psychologist or whoever is going over the evaluation? What do you do if you have a disagreement at the IEP table? What are you doing right before you go to the IEP meeting? What are you doing that morning? How do other people see you at the IEP table? So we look at answers to these questions, right? And then what I've done is I've made a flow chart and I've put you in one of these categories as frazzled Francis, organized Olive, courteous Carol, or hesitant Hannah. So for example, what does your IEP binder look like? If you are frazzled Francis, then you don't even have an IEP binder. You're like, who in the heck keeps an IEP binder? I'm lucky if I can keep track of my child, much less my child's paperwork. But if you are hesitant Hannah, you might be like, oh, it's not really a binder, but it's like a huge bin where I put everything. I'm afraid to throw anything away, so it's everything that they've always given me. And I don't really know what to do with it. We're looking at how you're behaving at various points along the process. And then what I've given you is I have given you your personality style. So I've given you the way that other IEP team members see you. I've given you pitfalls to your IEP advocacy style. I've given you strengths, things that people with your personality style are really good at and things that you can capitalize on, and then suggestions for how to grow as I really wanted this IEP personality type to provide you not only with an opportunity for some fun and an opportunity with some insight into your advocacy style, but also with some to-do items. And that's why I've got this section on suggestions for your IEP style. So I hope that you will hop over to the website, take the personality quiz, and then let us know how you did and let us know what actions you are going to take. That's all the time I am going to take away from you this April, because I know that you are busy and I want for you to be able to stay organized and get out there and enjoy your families. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a great week.